Okay, so today we are going to start agile model. So what is agile model? Okay, so agile model is the model currently the companies have started using this particular model. And here you can see the phases of the agile model are plan, design, develop, test, release, and feedback. So, while going through these phases, the difference between waterfall model and the agile model is that in agile model, if any particular requirement has come to the from the client, so that requirement can be edited, that can be updated, or that can be changed in any phase of the agile model or any state of the agile model. So that is called as agile model. So in that, the first phase you can see is the planning. In that, the team who is going to work on a particular project, they are doing the planning in the core team meeting of the company. Once that planning has been completed, then they will decide what will be the overall design of that particular model. That design will be defined over here in the design phase. Then the next stage is the development. So here, once the design is finalized, the developer will start their work, and development will get started over here. So then, after completion of development, they will give that task to the tester to test whether the model which they have developed is properly developed or not, or there are any defects or bugs or errors are there in that particular model. Then, once the tester will test properly without, if your model is without any errors or bugs, then that will get released. Okay, at last, and then once that module get released, you will get the customer feedback. So this is how the agile model workflow occurs. Okay, but the positive point over here in the agile model is that we cannot we will be having the facility of backward tracking, even if any changes occurred in the requirement, which was not there in the waterfall model. So that is one of the advantage, and it is a fast and continuous development and deliverable of the product. So therefore, the agile model is mostly preferred right nowadays. And the continuous communication is happening always in between customers, developers, and the testers. That makes it regular and flexible model. So which is possible in only the agile model. And the next point is the disadvantages of the agile model. Okay, so it is tricky to access the efforts required at the start of the cycle for large and compiled software development cases. So whenever the requirement from the client is a larger requirement, so in that case, this agile model is very helpful because it will reduce the efforts of the human being, and everything will be easy and possible to do on in the software. So that is the actually disadvantage of it. So the next disadvantage for this agile model is due to continuous communication with the client. As there are changes occurred in the requirement, there will be a continuous communication with the client, so that the project tracking may get off, means whatever tracking is done, so that will go to the off track, and customer will not get the clear idea about the target to be achieved, like in how many days that requirement gets completed. So these are the two disadvantages of agile model, which were not there in the waterfall model actually. Now next is the spiral model. So you can see here, this is the next model in which these are the phases: this planning, risk analysis, coding and testing, and the customer evaluation. So these phases will spirally go on occurring continuously here. That's why it is called as the spiral model. First, the planning. In that planning phase, the requirement will be gathered by the business analyst, and then next stage is the risk analysis. If there are any risks while developing that particular requirement, so that risk will be calculated over here. Then customer evaluation of that risk analysis, and then actual development will get started. Because here the spiral model is normally used in case of whenever a complete software is going to be developed, and module by module we are getting the requirements from the client one by one, and this model will be continuously working in the loop of these four stages till complete product will not get developed. So normally in such a cases, this particular spiral model is useful for doing the planning, risk analysis, customer evaluation, coding, and the testing. Okay. And what are the disadvantages and the advantages for this spiral model? So it is suitable for compiled and large systems. Normally it is suitable for the larger systems, because as I told you, whenever a complete code or the complete product is going to be developed, so in that case this model will be helpful. Okay. The second advantage is you can add the functionality depending on the modified circumstances, because whenever a particular product is going to be developed, there are many ideas which are coming from the different people, different persons. So every time the functionalities or the requirements get modified, so that requirements and the functionalities can be added in between also in case of spiral model. And software actually generated in the early stage of the cycle, that is the advantage. The disadvantages of the spiral model is it is a costly model which requires highly specialized expertise in the risk analysis. It is very costly because whenever you are going to develop any particular complete product, so each time, in case of this customer evaluation or the risk analysis finalization, you need the person or the expertise who are having the good experience, or we can say uh, they need to pay highly highly they need to pay. So that is the disadvantage of this model. The next, it does not work well on the easy project normally. Okay, whenever we are having some small requirements or the requirements which are not complex, in that case it will not work well. Okay, so this is the disadvantage for it. Again, this is the iterative model. So iterative model means the name which is given. So the whole list of requirement is given to the team who are going to work on that particular development. And then the development process initiates when requirements are the functional part and they are executed later on. Okay. In every iteration, we will be having these phases. You can see here, this is the diagram which I have shown you. One is iteration 1, iteration 2, and the iteration 3. So in every phase, that module has to go through design, testing, implementation, and the review stage. And then once that product get developed, it will be going for the maintenance at last in the last after the last iteration. Okay, why these iterations are separately mentioned over here? Because whenever a new website, or we can say new application, or the new product is going to be developed, so it will be developed module by module in the iteration format, as like in the spiral model. So in every iteration, in the first iteration, you can see these are the phases: requirement analysis, design, testing, implementation, and the review. Again, once that particular module get developed, again your software will go to the iteration 2, iteration 3. In this way, once your complete software will get developed, it will be going to the maintenance in the by following the same iteration, still complete product will not get built. Okay. What are the advantages now? It is simple to control the risk as a high task completed first. The improvement is easily measurable over here in the iterative model. Then difficulties and the risks are defined within one iteration, and that can be avoided in the next sprint. Okay, now what is sprint? So the customer is deciding which task to be performed in the complete span of the one sprint. We can say that span of the sprint is decided by the client, like it may be a 1 week or 2 weeks. So which things the team has to complete, so that is decided in this sprint. So some of the issues or some difficulties which are not followed or completed in this particular in one sprint, then that is going to the next sprint. That is the advantage. And the disadvantage is that it needs extra resources than the waterfall model. The human power, or we can say the resources which are required, will be more as compared to normal waterfall model, and it is the process is tough to manage till complete software will not get, or complete product will not get developed. And the risk cannot be evolved till complete at the last stage or complete product get developed, so that risk cannot be calculated till that. So that is the disadvantage of it. Now, the next and important point is what is white box testing, what is black box testing, and what is the gray box testing. Now, these three are the methods of software testing methodologies, which are basic methodologies in every software testing. So, first we will go for the white box testing. So, this white box testing is a technique that examines the program structure and drivers test data from the program logic or the code. Means here, normally this white box testing is done at the developer side for testing their codes. like their optimization of their codes, number of lines of the codes, or the logic, whatever logic they have used. So to testing that all these things, the white box testings are done normally. In this white box testing, it is also tested that whether indentations are proper in the coding and all. Okay, so it is also called as the black box testing because we are directly checking the code, internal part of your product. So therefore, it is called as the white box testing. Now, what are the types of these white box testing? First is statement coverage, then branch coverage, and the path coverage. So this statement coverage techniques is aimed at exercising all the statements in a minimal state. Whatever statements are there, like complete lines of codes are there in your code, so that is tested in the statement coverage type of white box testing. In branch coverage, in this we are testing the series of tests to ensure all the branches, if any particular algorithm or any particular product which we are going to develop, it is having the branches in the code, so that branches are being tested. For example, in case of calculator code, suppose we have addition, subtraction, division, and the multiplication. Whenever a user is asking for the multiplication, whether my particular code is moving towards the multiplication or not, so that like that the branching are being tested. If user is trying to want to do the subtraction, then whether my code is going to the subtraction module or not, so that is tested over here. Then path coverage, here the actual paths are being tested. For example, if you want to, for example, you want to find out the number which is having the number which is greater than 5, and then it should give your system should give you an output as a if the number user has entered which is greater than 5, then it should give an output as the number is greater than 5. Otherwise, it should give an output as the number is not greater than 5. So in this way, proper path your algorithm should be taken. So to test that whether your algorithm is going in a proper path or not, this particular path coverage is used. Now, what are the advantages of this white box testing? Okay, it forces the developer to reason carefully about the implementation. Okay, so it will be easy and it will get many ideas to the developer for the implementation. Then it reveals the error in the hidden code. Some of the hidden codes are there, so it will reveal those errors from the hidden code. Okay, and spot and the dead code and other things are get removed by using this particular white box testing. Disadvantages are it is expensive, as each time we need to spend the money for performing the white box testing. Okay, and every possibility that few lines of code is missed accidentally. So some of the code may get missed due to their testing. So that is the possibility over here. Then again, the third disadvantage is in-depth knowledge about the programming languages necessary for the expert who is going to do the white box testing. Okay, so these are the disadvantages of the white box testing. Now, next point which we are going to know about is the black box testing. Okay, so here black box testing is a method of software testing that examines the functionality of an application based on the specification. Means here we are not going to check any code. So this is done by the testers who are going to check only the functionality or overall application. For example, if we consider, I'll just show you one website of Amazon. Okay, so here you can see whenever I'm opening any website of the Amazon here, okay, amazon.com. Okay, so in that case, the functional test, in the case of functional testing, we are just only testing the things which we can see. So this is done tested by the tester actually. He will not go in the deep for testing the codings and all. So if I want to given the task of testing the search option, so I will test whether my search option is working properly whenever I'm putting any query over here, whether the filters, all these filters on the search options are working properly or not. So like that, the testing will be carried out over here. Okay, and then that is called as this black box testing. Okay, which is also called as specification based testing. We are just only checking the specifications of the software. Again, for the black box testing, we have the three types: bottom up testing, boundary analysis, boundary value analysis, it is also called as, then branch coverage testing. So you can see here, this is a bottom up testing. So here, actually what is happening, bottom up testing means what? Initially, we are just testing it, the individual module. You can see this arrow, it is going upward. So we are checking the individual modules. Then we are checking the modules which are connected to these individual modules. So these three modules will get connected from the bottom. And then similarly, Here also the modules which are connected to this particular level are get tested along with those modules which we have tested previously, and then combinedly a complete software will get tested, which is called as the bottom up approach. Okay, so you can see here, this is the bottom up approach as I shown you how the modules are tested in this particular diagram. Then here, the boundary analysis testing. Here we are just only checking whether our software is giving the actual require yes or no in the type of yes or no option or pass or fail type of answer. So whether our software is working properly or not. For example, here I just have mentioned one example for the result analysis of a student. Like if the student is having the marks in between 49 to 50, then he is having will be having the grade as a pass. For this range, for 74 to 75, you will be having the range of merit. And similarly, here we are getting the distinction in between the 84 and 85. Okay. So this way, this boundary analysis, like we are checking only the value. Okay. Now next is the branch coverage testing method, which ensures that whether whenever user is making any decisions and your software is going to the proper decision or not. For example, you can see here I have taken two inputs A and B. So A plus B is if the answer of A plus B is greater than less than 10, then it should be said that print A plus B is large. Otherwise, it will move to the next stage. If the A is greater than 5, then A is large. So in this way, your system should give the go to the proper branches according to the inputs which you have provided and uh, the inputs which user has provided. So that is the for checking of these branches. We are using this branch coverage testing in case of black box testing. Okay. So this is all about white box testing, black box testing, and the branch coverage testing, which we have learned today. Okay. So